The L4 Ultra Maximizer by Waves is the latest evolution in their limiting line, and today we're going to walk through the interface and every setting you need to know in order to use it properly. We're going to cover the 5 sonic behaviors or modes, we're going to cover the new upwards compression engine, we're going to take a look at the advanced metering, we're also going to take a look at graphic mode, delta, and oversampling. So without further ado, let's get right into this plugin. So I have it pulled up here in a Pro Tools session, and the first thing that I want to go over is the modes of the plugin. So this plugin has 5 different modes, and actually, before we even get started, let's talk about what this is. L4 Ultra Maximizer is a musical limiter. In music, it is meant to bring the overall loudness of the song all the way to the top without clipping through the digital ceiling. Basically, it makes things louder without making things sound terrible. Let's get into the modes of this plugin. We have 5 different modes here: modern, smooth, aggressive, safe, and L2. So the first setting on this plugin is modern, and it's a very balanced and punchy setting. Basically, it's good for any type of song. It's just a very universal limiting, and if you don't know exactly which type you need, this is the perfect one to pick. So the next mode inside of this plugin is smooth. Smooth is a very transparent and cohesive type of limiting, so this would be great for songs where you don't want to over push the limiter, you just want very subtle loudness without clipping. This is the one to pick. Now the next mode inside of L4 would be aggressive, and this is a very loud and forward type of limiting. This is for if you want a very aggressive limiting, you would pick this mode. The next mode inside of the L4 is safe mode. And inside of safe mode, you get no audible distortion, even if you push it really, really hard. This is a great setting for new beginning engineers that want to limit their song without crushing anything. Now, last but not least, we have the legacy mode. This is the L2 legacy mode. And what this setting does is it emulates the original L2 limiter. So that is the 5 different modes of this plugin. You can go through and you can select which one sounds best for your song. Me personally, I stick to modern, but to each its own, you can pick whichever one you like. So the next setting inside of the L4 is going to be the built-in upwards compressor, which is this right here. The upwards compressor lists quiet content, and in doing so, it brings out detail, warmth, and presence in the mix. This is a tool used to perceive loudness without squashing the dynamic gain. Use this sparingly in order to bring back some of the low energy back into the song. So the next setting inside of this plugin that I want to check out is the built-in integrated loudness meter. And inside of this window, it's showing the short-term and long-term LUFS, it's showing the true peak, and it's showing range. Personally, for my music, I aim for a long-term LUFS of around -8. Some people go for -14. Some people go for -10. It's all up to you. Now, next inside of this plugin is going to be the threshold and the ceiling. Just the same as any other limiter, you're setting your ceiling and you're pulling the threshold down and it starts limiting the song. The next thing to go over is the attenuation window. This shows you exactly how much limiting you're doing. So if you see the red line coming down to the 3, that means you're doing 3 dBs of gain reduction. And you'll also see that down here in the digital meter right here. The next setting inside of this plugin that I want to talk about is the advanced settings over here, release and clipping. The release controls how fast the limiter recovers after gain reduction. Faster release would be increased loudness and more punch. A slower release would leave you with a smoother type of limiting. So you can play with this in order to get the exact sound you want, or you can use automatic, which is at 0. The clipper introduces more loudness with surgical precision, but if you push the clipping too much, you can cause audible distortion, so be careful with this. The next thing inside of this plugin that I want to go over here is graph mode. So much like the L2 from FabFilter, this plugin does have a graph mode, and it's the same thing as if you weren't in graph mode. We have the upwards compressor, we have the threshold, and we have the output ceiling right here. I would set this to -1. That's where I always set mine. And then I would pull the threshold down, and then I would adjust upwards compression. So that is how you use the graph window. This window is good for people who like to use their eyes. Some people don't like to have the distraction of the graph. Personally, I like to see the graph just so I know exactly where I'm clipping my peaks at. Now, the next setting inside of this plugin that I want to talk about is delta mode. What delta does is it allows you to hear everything that the limiter is taking out of the music. This is great so you can hear if you're over limiting the song or not. Now, the next setting inside of this plugin that I want to go over is the delta button. And what delta does is it allows you to hear everything that the limiter is taking out of the song. This is really great to make sure that you're not over limiting or under limiting the song. Now, let's go ahead and talk about gain match. What gain match does is it matches the ceiling to the threshold, so you don't have, or you're not tricked by the perceived loudness of the song increasing. So as you limit the song, it's going to obviously get louder, and it's going to be a lot harder for you to tell if you're making the song better or if you're just making the song louder. So what gain match does is it allows you to pull the threshold down and still hear the song at the exact loudness that it is at before limiting, allowing you to hear if your limiter is crunching things, if it's making the song sound different sonically without having the volume blaring. This limiter does come with a true peak button. So basically, when you enable true peak, you're not allowing any of the peaks to get through the threshold of the ceiling. I always select this button, and that way, when I select my ceiling at -1, it's not going to let a single bit of audio past -1. I like that. I use it for every single song. It makes it so whenever you transfer your song to Apple Music and Spotify and all those places, that no digital clipping happens after the conversion. So I do use True Peak on every song. So now let's talk about the oversampling. This plugin allows you to oversample up to 16 times. Now during tracking and mixing, I would recommend you leave this off, and then whenever you're ready to bounce your song, turn it on, and this will prevent aliasing and phasing issues. Now, inside of the preset window here, we do have a couple factory presets that you could select. Just a couple different ways that you could have a starting point for your song. I like to be at full reset and start from completely scratch, but if you have a starting point that you like, go ahead and use that. To each their own. So another thing inside of this plugin is it has this window right here for the GUI size. You can increase the GUI size or decrease the GUI size depending on your screen size or where you want it to be. So I have it at 125 right now just so you can see it well in the video. Another thing here is you're going to see these little waves buttons here on the waves plugins, right? And what this does is it pulls up an impossible window that you cannot figure out how to close, and it'll just close on its own whenever it decides to. Don't hit this little W on the side of the plugin. It's just going to irritate you. It's going to waste your time. Don't press it. I'm not going to press it. It's just a waste of time. A little screen pops up here and it just tells you the specs and all that stuff, and you don't want that. It's very annoying. So before I go, I want to show you guys this limiter on an actual beat that I made. Okay, so before I leave, I want to show you guys this plugin in action. I have a beat here that I made, and I never put a master on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the L4 to get this song nice and loud. We're going to go through different modes and just listen to what they sound like. So without further ado, let's play the song and let's limit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass the plugin, I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to unbypass it, and we're going to hear what the plugin did to the song. All while protecting it from that -1 ceiling, so nothing's going over because we have True Peak on. Now let's play it, and let's switch through the different modes so you can hear all the modes. So personally, for me, I really like the way aggressive sounded on this beat. It really brought everything forward, just like it says in the settings that it would do. So this is the L4 Ultra Maximizer by Waves. It's probably one of the best limiters out right now, and it's for the price, it's definitely one of the best limiters out right now. Plugins like the L2 by FabFilter, that's going to be $200. The AL1 limiter by Natural Audio, that's going to run you like 150 bucks. Ozone Maximizer is going to run you $180. This plugin is probably about $35 right now on Waves. So go check this plugin out if you need a good limiter. If you found this video useful, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I will be back every single week with more mixing tutorials, breakdowns, masterclasses, you name it. I will be back. So without further ado, I appreciate you guys for watching the video, and I will see you guys on the next video.